Alright, hey guys, James here. I wanted to show you guys my new setup for what I think I'm going to do for the camera. I'm going to do a head mount, so you'll see everything that I see. So whether I'm mixing paints over here, or which brush I'm using, or what paint I'm using, or what I'm working on, whatever I'm doing, you'll be able to see it. I want to see if you guys like it, if you think it's good, if the angle's good, if it's moving around too much. I'm going to try to keep my head as stable as possible so it's not too wobbly. But I think it's going to be really interesting. I don't think anyone else has done a head-mounted cam for painting before. Now I know when I talk I think it shakes just a little bit, but I think the more I use it the better that'll get, the better I'll be at being aware of where the camera is mounted, and it actually makes it a lot easier for me. I don't have to paint around anything because I just mounted it to a hat, so it's just right, it's easy. I have both my hands free. I don't have to worry about anything, and I know that whatever I pick up and I'm looking at is going to be in view of the camera for the most part, at least I believe. So now the one thing is I don't know if the view while painting will be as good. I'm not sure. I would think it'd be better because you're on a bill that's sitting out in front of my face, so actually the distance that I'm viewing it at, you'll view it at, it'll seem a little closer yet. So I'm hoping that this works. We'll have to see how it goes. Well, so I thought I'd make this quick video, talk a little bit about skin tones, and then of course get some feedback on the head camera, what you guys think, is it a good idea, and then of course let you see how it looks to see if it's something that you guys are okay with. So without further ado, what I wanted to talk about a little bit was skin tones. Now with skin tones, it's kind of interesting. It's one of those things where with miniature painting, when you're painting an army, you almost want to make it look uniform. You want everything to look the same almost, but really it makes it look less believable, less realistic when the skin tones and the biological things are the same color, every single one. So what I do with my skin tones now, you've seen me do faces before, but I want to talk a little bit about why do them varied. So now what I have here, this is the driver to the Venom over here, and working on his face here. I made a couple videos before. I had to switch up the camera and stuff because I was getting it off picture, but so I've already done some of the stuff, but I wanted to show you what I did. So to begin with, to do the base coat, I mixed Talaron Flesh and Ghost Gray, and I mix that up, no specific ratio. That's this one over here. No specific ratio, just kind of mixed it up however. And then after that dries, then I did wash with that. I used Leviathan Purple from Games Workshop and Ogryn Flesh, also from Games Workshop. I know they switched those. I don't know what the equivalents are. I got the book and everything, but I'm not real familiar with the new paint line or anything yet. So that's something I'll have to, I'll look into, and I'll start using those somewhat too. So I mixed those up, did the wash over that, let that dry. Now I kind of mixed the Ogryn Flesh and Leviathan Purple, and the reason I add more purple is because they're going to end up with a more pale colored skin tone, kind of vampiric. Being Dark Elder, they live in a dark city, they're not going to be tan, so I make them pretty light, so that purple helps for in the end building it up to make it look lighter. The purple adds to the shading very nicely. So, and then once that dried, now then I start building it back up, and this is how I vary the skin colors, because I don't really use predetermined mix of the colors, and I'll actually vary it up as well. I might use it's mostly every time I'll have Talaron Flesh mixed in there because it helps when doing skin tones. It's base coat paint, so it's high pigment, so it lets me do it in less layers with thinner paints, which I like using thinner paints. So I use some of that, and a lot of the time I mix in Ghost Gray just to whatever. So this will be the first layer afterwards, and I did that already. I did a layer of that, and then I might just take and add some more Ghost Gray to that mix to lighten it up more. I might take and add some, I think this is Elf Flesh from Vallejo. I can't see the names rubbed off, but I'll add some of that. Sometimes it's just a really light skin tone color. Add some of that, or I might just do Ghost Gray and Elf Flesh. Just kind of whatever. Build it up to the specific model, kind of however it's looking, however it's working. So over here I have actually a mix of Ghost Gray, a little bit of Ghost Gray, and then I added some of the previous mix of the Talaron Flesh and Ghost Gray. So it's just a lighter color. And I'm just kind of going back over it now. And as you've seen before, and there's a video you can watch before where I've showed doing faces. But one of the ways that I do for skins and stuff, and now this guy's starting to get kind of haggard because I've done like 3 videos now where I've went over them. So, but anyways, you come over it, and you just kind of wipe away and kind of dab at it, and it gets this kind of mottled, rough skin kind of texture to it when you do that. And it also helps if you push it into a wrong area, into your shading, you can kind of pull it out. And one of the tips that I have for that is if you use thin paints like me, a good thing to get used to it is it really helps out when you can kind of go towards the shade area and pull out, and it'll pull that little droplet of paint towards the, pull it towards the highlighted area. Like here I'm down in the crevice in the ear where it's going to be darker, dropping the paint there and pulling it up towards the top of the skull where it's going to be lighter. So I'm kind of over dramatizing it, but it's just little pulls like that, and it keeps it out of the recessed area. And another nice thing about using thin paints, especially on something like the face, is that if you do, here I'll kind of do a blip. So let's say I'm painting around the eye socket here, getting in here, and all of a sudden I drop it. Oh crap! And I got now paint all up in his eye. I can just take it, blow it out, and I get that paint right out because it's thin enough that it'll run off. It'll run back out of that area, and then I can just kind of catch it and move it around. And then with thin paints, you're also getting a slower dry time, which is nice. I'm actually using a thinner with some slow dry in it, which helps me out quite a bit because I like to have a little bit extra time to play with the paint, to make sure I got it where I want it. It makes for a lot less headaches in the end. So with the skin tone now, with not using any pre-mixed paints or anything like that, mixing up my own colors and then not taking notes on it or anything, just kind of mixing it different every time, you end up with a different skin tone every time. It's not dramatically different, but it's it's varied, just like it would be in real life. You might be from the same family, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, but you all have different skin tones. A lot of you probably have different hair colors. When I have blonde hair, maybe you have brown hair, different eye colors and such. There's that variation in nature, and I think it makes an army more believable, especially like dwarves or something like that. I've seen armies where they've done all the skin tones slightly varied, and I thought it looked awesome. It made it look a lot realer, a lot more believable as a realistic army of dwarves would look, if they were real. So that's why I think you should, when doing skin tones, you should vary. Now there's things that you don't want to be varied too much, like the weapons and stuff. They're probably forged in the same forgery and built in the same place, so they're going to be very similar, so you want to use the same colors, and it's good to take notes on that. But I mean, you can even slight variate on that as well. It could have been built in a different shop. They could have used a different paint on it. So there are variations, and I think it makes it kind of interesting. When you look at an army, it makes every model very characteristic. Now, the one thing I'm going to say is, if you do speed painting, where you're painting, or army painting, where you're painting 5 models of similar type at the same time, I do that with like my lizardmen. It can be kind of hard to, you don't want to mix up different paint for every single one. That kind of defeats the purpose of painting them all at the same time. So one of the things I do for that when I'm painting up, because my lizardmen, I do paint them up in groups of 5, and so the way you can do that is, now with this back here, it's an orange, lighter orange with a red wash over it to give it that, give it the shading and brighten it up a bit. So what I do then to variate it is I might do 2 thicker washes of red wash on this guy and 1 on another guy, so that you naturally end up with different shades of scales. So you just end up with that different shade, and that's I don't know how that would go into everything, but you could do that with like dwarves or something like that. And even when you're using with a fantasy army especially, you have a lot of models, so you could do 5 of them the same color, and then the next 5 just vary those, and then when they're all mixed up together, they're going to look different anyways. But I think it's important to do that to build on the believability of the army. So that's just my thoughts on why you should vary skin tones. Again, it's just my opinion, but the main purpose of this video is I really wanted to show you the head cam and get your guys' feedback on it. So let me know if you think this is going to work. I hope it does. I really like it so far. It's comfortable for me. It makes it a lot easier for me to paint, because one of the things before is when I have a camera sitting out in front of me, this is where I had it before. I had it mounted on top of this, hanging down, and I had this kind of up over more where I was painting. The thing is, you're reaching down and around it all the time. And then for you guys to get a good view, the camera has to be, you know, about where I need to be looking. So camera's sitting right here. I have to be looking down and around it, or up and over the top of it, trying to get a good view of the miniature to do a good job painting. And so then a lot of the times you guys aren't getting, you know, you aren't getting to see how I normally paint. So I think this head cam will give you guys opportunity to better view what I'm doing while I'm doing it. And I know I do a lot of time-lapse videos, so that'll also give me an opportunity that I don't have to show you guys, won't have to see me when I'm looking around and whatever all the time. I can more or less, you know, view this part, but still be able to show you more the mixing and the other parts that go along with the painting. So hopefully, you know, let me know what you guys think. Let me, because you know, I make these videos for you guys, so it's not so much what I want, it's more or less what you want. I'm happy to try to accommodate to make it so that it works good for all of us. You know, so let me know what you think. Maybe you guys don't want me to do time-lapse videos anymore. Maybe you guys just want me to do painting in real time. Now again, you know, I'm a slower painter. I don't speed paint through anything. I mean, there's some things I go pretty quick on now, but the videos would be a lot longer. I mean, I could do skips, kind of like girl painting does. I could do something like that. But it's up to you guys. So let me know what you think about the head cam. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Is there something else I should do with it? You guys let me know, and we'll go from there. So, alright, thanks for watching, guys.